veiling the sky, occluding the sun. For us in the northern U.S., we see it on a daily basis. Very, very troubling. And so Sky Awareness Week is hoping to get people to look up, but then to look up long enough that they can actually watch the trails as they plume, combine, veil the sky, occlude the sun. And also one of the two, actually, of the issues that come up again and again in climate change discussions are the holding of heat against the planet and the dimming of the sun or the occlusion of the sun, loss of photosynthesis, and so on. And yet, persistent jet contrails, which have really only been in existence for about 20 years, are not at all a part of the discussion. So we're hoping to help people learn how they can bring persistent jet contrails into the discussion of climate change. So we're not just out there mitigating and geoengineering when we're already geoengineering. If people are interested in participating, they'd like to create some kind of a nonviolent action or activity in their community. Nobody that I know of in Florida or elsewhere in that corner of the world, although now that I'm thinking about it, we have internationally, we have Cyprus and Greece and France and Italy have come on board doing actions, taking actions in their countries. But we'd love to have more and more people.
Bonnie, which state are you located in?
In eastern New York State. I look out my window and I see the mountains of southern Vermont.
And do you notice, particularly up there, a lot of sky activity?
Yes, very disturbing.
And how long have you noticed that?
Well, what's funny about this is I was actually photographing them for about 10 years before I had that painful epiphany that I think a lot of people have to go through when I realized there was a grid in the sky. It was in February 2008, and my partner said, come out here and look at this, and we watched in the course of less than an hour as that pluming grid expanded and did, as I said, expanded, veiled the sky, and occluded the sun, the rising sun. It was early in the morning. Very, very disturbing. And I just really, as I know happens for many people, I just went into a state of shock. Prior to that, I had thought, well, those are odd, or those are artful, and I photographed them. So I have quite a long history of photographing them and thinking of them as being natural phenomena. And oh my goodness, look at that! Isn't that amazing? So now to know that these are being produced, that they're artificial, that they have purposes which are not readily available to us, even though we are underneath it every day, it is certainly of great concern, should be a great concern for us because it's happening without our permission. It's really quite a shock to have to cross that threshold. There are no environmental impact studies going on. We know from some of the patents that we have that are related to weather modification, weather manipulation, that there are some pretty awful chemicals that are used to create not necessarily what we're watching plume because it's hard to get that information, but certainly things like barium and aluminum, metals and lead, things that we wouldn't really necessarily want to have falling out of the sky on us. So without our permission and without any oversight, with no regulation, this is happening, and we'd really like to have people say, no, we will not allow this. This is not acceptable. The Bonfire Coalition, as I said, is at CaliforniaSkywatch.com. If people want to go and take a look at what we have there, for Sky Awareness Week itself, we have a planning packet. People want to take some nonviolent actions to hopefully artfully and good-humoredly, if possible, to bring people's attention to what's happening in the sky and to learn more about it themselves. But if people want to communicate with me directly by way of email, it's bonfire, BONNE, _ FIRE at yahoo.com. They might just mention that they heard us speaking on your program, and maybe that in the subject line, and just let me know what they want to know about. We certainly have lots of documents, and we have documents that have to do with HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which is definitely playing with the atmosphere. We have information about the CARE project of the charged aerosol release experiment that was just sent out in a cloud of charged aluminum oxide particles over the Atlantic Ocean. We have information about 2025, which was the Air Force's dreaming document from 1996 of how they would own the weather in 2025. So they're not shy about any of the NASA, the Air Force, the Navy, or the Army about how they're intending to use the atmosphere. And some of it is it's more than troubling. It needs to have us rise to the occasion as people who live on this planet and say, no, you may not.
Bonnie, just in closing, we were just going to talk briefly about the National Sky Awareness Week. What would you like to see listeners and the general public doing to increase the awareness and perhaps to help bring about the changes that we need and the demands on our legislatures?
I would urge people, first of all, to get grounded in the information that is there on those websites. Rosalind Peterson is to be credited for the research that she has done. That everything we assert will have documentation to support it, and so it is it's like a college, I guess, it's a library actually of documents, many of them government documents, which are often spelling out precisely what they are doing. Even though the persistent jet contrails, we have not been able to crack that open in terms of precisely its purposes. We have to speculate because we're outside of that military loop. But if people would get themselves informed, or if they're already informed, please communicate with me. Let me know if they want to take actions wherever they are in the world, listening to our voices.
Bonnie, thank you very much for talking to us today. And National Sky Awareness Week, or International Sky Awareness Week, is coming up October the 12th to the 19th. So something certainly for people to check into and get more information on, and perhaps become more actively involved in asking questions and demanding answers.
Yes, and asserting that the sky belongs to all of us. It's not a militarized zone. Well, it is, but we don't want it to be. So we have to claim it back. And I wanted to say thank you to you for giving me this opportunity, because this is the kind of program that helps to break through the block, the blackout.
Well, we certainly try. Thank you, Bonnie. You've been listening to 2012 and Beyond on WSLR Radio 96.5 LPFM in Sarasota. My name is Emily, and I will be back again in 2 weeks, so I hope you will join us then.